Hello, everyone. This is Amy with the Two Hills and Area Community Wellness Coalition. Joining me today is Verlene Carter.
Yes.
She is from the Murnum area, and I really appreciate you coming in on this very frosty.
Thank you.
How cold was it in Murnum?
30 below.
Yeah, 30 below. My kids thought the buses weren't going to be running today, so one of my kids didn't study for a test. So there was a few moments of panic this morning when I woke them up. No, I thought the buses weren't running. But they are. Okay, well, thank you for coming in today.
You're welcome.
And we'll just jump in here. My first question for you is, how long have you lived in the Murnum area?
We've been there 34 years.
34 years.
Yes.
So that's a stretch.
A little bit.
And what drew you?
Two things. Hockey. My husband played pretty intense hockey when he was part of the Air Force, so it's in his blood. And so somebody from the Murnum Cricket Shooters approached him to join them, so he did. And then we needed to put a well in at our lake lot at Horseshoe Bay, St. Vincent Lake. It was cheaper to buy a house in Murnum than to put a well on our lake lot property. And so we moved to Murnum.
Well, that is very interesting. Well, awesome. Man, I know a property was super affordable. Cheaper than a well. Wow, that's awesome.
Yes.
All right, well, the next question is a tricky one for you. What does mental wellness mean to you?
To anybody watching, I was given the questions a couple days ago, so I actually sat down and wrote notes, and so I'm going to cheat and go by my notes. But I actually started with what mental wellness was not to me for many years.
Okay.
So I was taken from my family when I was 3. So for many years, I thought that I was so bad that I was taken from my family. I didn't at all relate it to my mom, to my parents. I thought it was me. So 3 years in a foster home and adopted at age 6. Old enough to know what had happened to me, not old enough to understand. And I knew of no one to talk to. So bottled up tons of stuff at age 6, cried myself to sleep almost every night from the age of 6 to 9, thinking, why wasn't I good enough, and who would want me if my my adoptive parents weren't there. As I got older, I looked for love in all the wrong places because I didn't know how to value myself. And I reached a point in my 20s where I was sleeping for 14 to 16 hours a day just to get through a day. And I would get up, I would make sure I was up to hear Jim and Tammy Baker. And yes, they fell into bad times. But Tammy sang a song called You Can Make It. And that was the only person around me that was telling me that I could make it. I looked it up last night out of interest. The song can still be heard. Betty Griffin Keller sings that song, and it's an old song, but you can still watch it. And I spent a lot of time waiting to be rescued. So I am a reader. So mental health is knowing that Viktor Frankl, who is a Holocaust survivor, was right when he told people it's not what happens to you, it's how you choose to react that's important. Mental health is being open to people that have survived and thrived, and a small list, and many of them are religious people. But my list includes Oprah, Joyce Meyer, Tyler Perry, Danny Johnson. Mental health is becoming aware of things to be grateful for. Oprah is a big person on that. And mental health is knowing when to say, I need help. It's interacting with others that we are stronger.
Wow. So you're saying part of mental health is a choice
Yes,
in how you're going to respond, because we can't avoid pandemics.
correct, correct.
We can't always avoid the situations in our family or our health, but we can choose in how we are going to respond. That was kind of the beginning
Yes,
for you in how you were obviously struggling with depression.
yes,
And then having someone say that you can do it, that was kind of a trigger for you to
Yes.
think, you know what, maybe I can. Yeah, that's a really beautiful and challenging
and
answer.
nothing in my answer was really altogether. Listening to Tammy sing was years before I heard Oprah talk about gratitude, and like it was just a growth process.
Yeah.
But I think if you leave yourself open to letting some of that come to you, it will.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think that's a fantastic. I was really encouraged in one of the interviews I did. The gentleman mentioned that it's a journey, right?
Yes.
And I, in my naivety, maybe thought it was just like, okay, I have good mental health and now I'm good.
Oh, yeah.
But that some days you're like, you know what? Not today. And then it's so important to challenge that, because then when you're like, oh, I'm not good now, then I felt like a failure, which
Yes.
made it tank more. But understanding that it's a process and a growth journey, and that we're still on it,
Yes.
even.
For me, the gratitude one was actually very hard, and it shouldn't be, but I had trouble thinking about what to be grateful for each day. Like some days I'd shine, and then the next day, total blanks. And to push myself to think of something to be grateful for that day.
Yeah. Yeah. Great answer, Verlene. Thank you.
you.
Okay, well, the next question is how has COVID affected you and your family?
It has been really hard because my grandchildren are age 4, 3, 2, and 7 months. So the time of having personal interaction has been limited, but I'm so grateful for FaceTime. Like, I think if this was 40 years ago, it would be even harder than it is now.
Yeah.
FaceTime has been a real saver.
Yeah, well, at those ages, they change so quickly.
Yes, yes.
But now at least you can see.
We see them, and when we do see them in person, they know who we are.
Yeah.
So it's been nice.
Oh,
yes.
good. Yeah, no, the connection to family has been a hard one for everybody, I think.
And I'm not willing to go deep into this today, but it has really saddened me, the fight over the vaccine.
Yeah.
And I have friends on both sides of that fence, and it's tough.
Yeah, it's a crazy divisive issue. It occurred to me the other day, I'm like, why are we so intense about this? And I realized we're fighting about our fears.
Yes.
And it's hard for us to be rational or understanding. One is saying, your fear is stupid. You should be afraid of my fear.
Yes.
And the other person saying, no, your fear is stupid.
Yeah. Yes.
My fear is the real valid fear. And then we're just angry.
Yes.
So I hope that we can I hate to say settle down, but become less fearful and more understanding of each other.
Yes.
If I understand that you're coming from a place of fear, then that makes me a little less angry. So anyways, yeah, that's been a really hard thing. And what have you found helpful when you're going through difficult times? You've mentioned gratitude has been a huge one for you.
I am a person of faith, so my faith and prayer. I have been blessed that I have been able to go to church through a lot of it. I come from a small church. We can social distance, and we respect the distancing and the masks and that, so that's been good. Family and FaceTime. In terms of my TV watching, I love to see people's creativity. So watching car shows and some of the cooking shows has helped me, like
Yeah.
just as an entertainment. And I love reading, so that's been a factor for me too.
Awesome. Those are good suggestions. Like maybe watching lots of murder shows, and although maybe that feels some people. I grew up on Murder She Wrote, so
I still watch it.
yeah, I love Murder She Wrote. But yeah, just to filling your time and your mind with positive things that can build you up.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I have a random question for you that you're not prepared for.
Okay.
And it's just odd. What's your favorite color?
Purple.
It's purple. Well, it's beautiful on you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today,
Thank you.
Verlene. I really appreciate your time and your wisdom and your experiences. And
Thank you.